Hello, my name is Perry Bennett, and this is Perry's Joint. I'm located at 2051 Lincoln Avenue, Pasadena, California. I was born in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I lived there until I was 13 years old, and then I moved to the Bay Area, Oakland, California, and eventually over to San Francisco. Wow, it was interesting. I would say, moving from Philly to the Bay was a little bit a culture shock for me because the consciousness was a little different. But I actually enjoyed Oakland, and then I went to the Fillmore in San Francisco, which we took a little adjustment. But just growing up at the time, being a teenager in the '80s, it was great. It was great, man. Just the people, the culture, the music, the food in San Francisco at that time was incredible. There was a lot of things going on. It's changed now. Unfortunately, a lot of gentrification has happened, but it shaped me. That experience shaped me to be the person that I am right now. Okay, so after high school, I went to San Francisco City College. So I was there for a number of years, actually where I was studying psychology. But in my mind, I always knew I wanted to open business. I grew up in my family's business. So even when we were in Philadelphia, we had a series of business from cheesesteak shops to food trucks to hot dog stands. And I remember just working all my life. So even when we came to the Bay Area, my father still opened an ice cream, hot dog store that I worked in as a teenager. And so I always knew at some point I wanted to open my own business, and an opportunity came along when I was still going to school, and I jumped on it, and there you go. And I left school and opened my own business at 22 years old, and 23 years later, 24 years later, here I am. It was funny. I never thought I would live in Southern California. I used to come down to LA and hang out with my friends, but my wife actually went to Berkeley, and I met her just hanging out at a party one night. And when we got married and had kids, she wanted to move closer to her family, which is Southern California. So we came down. Her best friend actually lives here, which is Tracy Glover, that lives here, and we came down just to visit, just to hang out and check out the area. And I love Altadena, Pasadena. I love the area. So I said, hey, if we're going to move down to Southern California, let's look at the Altadena, Pasadena area. And so again, here I am. It worked out. Let me tell you, when I first came and I started to work on the business, I had people come in here and they would say to me, why would I open here? I had no idea the area, the history, but apparently Lincoln at the time and Northwest at the time was considered the hood. Now again, coming from Philadelphia, East Oakland, Fillmore, and San Francisco, this was one of the prettiest hoods I ever lived in my life. This was the hood. I just saw all the opportunity, I guess. So where everybody else saw like the hood and maybe some of the killings that they said happened and some of the drug dealers, maybe the school children who were unruly, so everybody looked down that path. I kind of really saw all the opportunity when I came here. The only thing I saw clean streets. I saw a lot of homes. I saw, again, school children. There weren't too many services. The only thing was here at the time was McDonald's and gyms. And so I didn't see anything but opportunity. So, I thought it was a gold mine as far as I'm concerned. So that's why I was like, yes, I want to develop it. Oh yes, sir. Yes, sir. Always. I mean, I was born and bred and programmed to be a part of my community and to do anything and to help my community. Since I was in Philadelphia, 3, 4, 5 years old, I was told to open businesses in my community, to buy homes in my community, buy property in my community, support the schools in my community. That's all I knew, So naturally, when I grew up, regardless of what community I lived in, I was going to be a part of that community, and I was going to do whatever I can for the kids. A lot of kids come in here, they come in here the reason I'm here, the reason why we're having this conversation, the reason why this building exists is partly because these kids come in and they pull out their little dollars, their little change, and they buy ice cream, they buy hot dogs. So naturally for me to have that understanding, I have to give back to the kids. I have to do whatever I can for them and to support them in their community. It's a wonder that regardless of what business you go to or where you spend your dollars, you have to be conscious that that business has an obligation, whether you're conscious of it or not, to give back to that community, where most businesses don't. But you, as a consumer, should be conscious about where you spend your dollars and how that business contribute to your community. Okay, so this Saturday I do a scholarship for the kids, to where I take one day. You know, I'm open for 360 days out of the year, so I just take one day and I said, look, I'm gonna donate 100%. You know, most companies, they'll say I'll do 5%, 10%, 15%, maybe 20%, but I'm gonna do 100% of what I make out of 360 days out of the year. I said I can take one day, and all the money that I make, all the proceeds that I make, I'm gonna donate to these kids' education. Great kids going to 4-year universities, and so I'm gonna give back. But I really kind of want to do it for multiple reasons, and really, so I want the kids to understand. I want them to understand that this is the community that's actually coming down and supporting you. And when you get older, 10, 15 years from now, I would like for you to have understanding that this is what you do. You come back, you give back to your community, you support your community. It actually started around 5 years ago. I saw a kid named Destiny. He was in Smart Final, and he used to come here and spend his money. And I saw this kid, and he had a gang of candy in his hand from Smart Final. And I said, Destiny, what you doing? What you got going on? And so he said, I'm selling candy at school. And I said, well, what you selling candy for? He said, well, I just got accepted to Berkeley, and I need to raise some money. I need some money because I need books and, you know, for extra stuff. I just don't have it, Mr. Perry. And immediately, I felt some sort of obligation to do something. I didn't know what I was going to do. I had no idea. I said, Destiny, come see me next week, and I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. And so at that point, that's where I thought of. I said, man, I'm going to take one day, and I'm going to make sure I promote it as much as I can. And 100% of what I make, I'm gonna give to Destiny. I say, look, you know, you've supported me for all these years. You're a great kid. You're going to a great school, coming out of John Muir. Most of what I hear about John Muir are negative, but obviously there's a lot of positive that's going on at the school. And so again, I feel an obligation to do whatever I can for those kids at their school, to make not only the school better, but the community better. On Saturday the 13th, 2016, here at Perry's Joint, again, 2051 Lincoln, I will do what I call a community scholarship fundraiser for 3 stellar individuals, children in your community, these kids that I would put up against any, that if you can just come down, and I say buy, you can buy a bottle of water, a Snickers, a scoop of ice cream. But anything that you buy, anything that you purchase that day will go to help fund these children's education. And it would be greatly appreciated if you come down.